What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to another edition of the San Diego Prep Insider High School Basketball Podcast. Christian Pedersen, Tom Morris, Aaron Bergen, Virgin Birdman. We're going to try and keep this somewhat professional and slightly informed this week, but you swing and you miss sometimes. So guys, before we go any further, let's talk about the week that was. Let's give out some game balls.
Yeah.
Tommy, Aaron, any of you guys dying to get out to game balls?
I'll get 2 out of that.
All right.
I'm going to go with Devin Arlington. He's a freshman at San Marcos, averaging 19 points in his last 4 games. Very impressive out of a freshman, especially against that schedule.
Can't rob a freshman of
No.
3 points a game.
Cannot.
Doing that.
And then here's a senior who's scoring a lot of points. Larry Oldham III from Victory Christian, 41 points against Kearney, and then 31 against El Cajon Valley. Maybe guard him. I would say probably guard him.
Is being named Oldman and being a senior, is that fitting? Is that perfect?
He's old ham, but
Old senior.
He's
Sorry,
old,
man.
yeah.
Old ham almost sounds like an insult to like an old guy. Oh, you old ham. Yeah.
That's our. Could that be our new hashtag? Old ham. What's up, old ham? Any other game balls for you, Tommy?
That's all I got.
All right, Aaron. We're told that you have some groundbreaking, never before covered content about to deliver for game balls.
Yeah, I'm going down to the JV ranks for a couple of guys. Jason.
Whoa, hold up. What other network in San Diego you gonna get this kind of coverage from?
I don't think there's anyone else. But Jason Ramos, Mission Bay, 53 points. Actually, this isn't JV. This is a freshman league game. 53 points. That's pretty impressive.
This is just Aaron trying to flex on us and show how much more basketball he knows than us.
Moving up to the JV ranks, Mark Dixon, a sophomore at Saints, had 48 points in a 103-98 overtime win against, I want to say it was La Jolla Country Day. I mean, really big game for a sophomore who will have an impact on the varsity level in the next couple years. And then finally, we're going to move up to the varsity ranks and give St. Augustine a team game ball for their win over previously unbeaten Torrey Pines last night.
But Chibuzo had a big part of that.
Chibuzo, obviously, a huge part. 33 points, 17 of those in the third quarter. My final game ball is going to go to Mount Miguel senior Marquise Edwards, 34 points in a 79-63 win over Bonita Vista. Guys, this is probably the best kept secret. He's probably the best kept secret.
They're CIF. They're defending CIF champs.
They are defending CIF champs, but if you ask anyone outside of our region, have you heard of Marquise Edwards? They look at you with this blank stare. The kid's legit.
All right, so you mentioned that people outside of this region don't know it. I will try and dig up the screenshot of the text message that I sent you week 3 of the season last year asking, is Mount Miguel a top 10 team?
Blah, blah, blah.
Look, man, I don't have very many hits to play, so when the crowd starts cheering for them, I got to go straight to Sweet Caroline and give them what I know, man. All right, here, for my game balls, I want to start with Chris Glennon from Kearney.
Big time.
34 points, 9 boards, but that's 34 out of 58 total for them in a 1-point win over Brawley. I know that this is a different Kearney than when we were talking about them with Robbie Robinson and Dakota Brown, and they're not high-powered, going to take down Cathedral at home type good, but this is a sign of things to come this season that could be kind of interesting, could be kind of entertaining. Next one, Gio Martinez at Olympian. He dropped 28 against Mira Mesa. I know that Mira Mesa, not known across the board as a sports school, but is getting very good at everything. So very impressive to drop that. And Dominic Safarda / all of Valhalla, as they are undefeated still this season, 5-0, most recently with a win versus Claremont.
And beating San Isidro in that Mar Vista Mariner Melee tournament. I was at that game. That wasn't a fluke.
Mar Vista Mariner Melee. You nailed that dismount, man.
And Safarda had 36 in that game, too.
Yeah, so Safarda definitely the person to talk about, but also a team to talk about there.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Safarda, obviously, he was at Christian his first 3 years. Averaged 6.5 points a game last year, was, fringe starter, reserve. Going over to Valhalla, kind of a new lease, and really taking advantage of his final year.
Absolutely. All right, so that was the week that was the players that we celebrated. Now, guys, let's look forward to what we got going on. These are games happening Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week. These are games covering from the biggest of the big to the smallest of the small. First one, let's start with Torrey Pines, Westview. I bring this up only because Westview every single season is good for one solid upset. Are they going to get it out of the way early, or are we still going to have to wait a couple more weeks?
I say no. I don't think the Westview and Torrey Pines schools are pretty close proximities because know about each other. I don't think there's going to be any surprises here.
Do you want to say that Westview made it to the finals of the Hilltop tournament? So they are starting the season off decently well. But yeah, this will be a big test for them.
Yeah, 9-1. Really good start to the season. Actually, a very competitive championship game against Rancho Buena Vista. But like Tommy mentioned, these are teams that they're very familiar with each other. There aren't going to be any surprises where Westview plays Foothills Christian and maybe they're not as familiar with each other. So I think Torrey Pines wins this one going away.
Fair enough. Next game, Canyon Crest Academy at Mount Carmel. Pair of teams that are hovering at that 500 marker really could use a big signature victory early in the season. We'll start with you, Aaron.
I'm going to go Canyon Crest, but I'm not. I want to talk about what Mount Carmel has been able to do thus far.
Absolutely.
They gave Christian a really good game over at the West Hills tournament. They slipped down to Division IV, and you've got to consider them the D4 favorites when you have an athlete like Blake Dean, decent guard play, and a couple of sleepers. They have a kid in the interior. I don't remember his name, 6'6" kid, but he's a junior, and he played with I want to say it was the San Diego Spartans during the AAU season. Okay. And, they've got a couple of those guys who really don't have much name recognition, but will get it done.
So you're telling me that Mount Carmel is the Kirkland brand basketball in San Diego? Not the brand recognition, but they get it done.
Yeah. But I'm going to pick Canyon Crest, though, because I like what Canyon Crest has been able to do, rebuilding on the fly with guys like J.J. Pearson, guys like Frank Gelfman, who are coming into their own. And I like the way that they defend. They play a pack line style defense. I'm going to go with CCA on this one.
Tommy?
I'll go the other way. I'll go with Mount Carmel. We haven't talked about Mount Carmel basketball in a while. I want to mention
a rebirth this year.
Nathan Plum, the leading scorer. I mean, it's early, 10 points a game for him, but a kid that maybe not a lot of people talk about. He's having off to a good start, so I got to give him a little shout out.
Plums are also delicious. Next game, Escondido Adventist versus Preuss. EAA is a school that we've seen in the playoffs, making some push at the D5 level the last couple of years. Preuss, still a school looking for that signature season, aside from when they made it to a final versus O'Farrell that lasted for 73 years. And
I think it just ended yesterday.
Yeah, and somehow Derek Carter Hollander's been playing at a different school for 2 years. But, it's some time, man. It's weird. EAA, Preuss, break it down.
I'm going with EAA on this one. In games like this, small schools, usually the team with the best player wins. They've got Ethan Davis. I'm rocking with him.
I'm going to go with them as well. I do think it's kind of interesting to note Preuss played 11 games already this year. EAA's played 9 already this year. So these guys have played a lot of basketball already. These are teams that already know their rotation and stuff like that. Given the fact they played so many games, I'm going to go with EAA.
Oceanside, Pack Ridge. Pack Ridge off to a pretty hot start this year. Oceanside, I feel like perennially is the team that is playing disruptor. They know that they can't win a title, so they trip the guy on the way up to the podium and kick him in the balls and slow their season down a little bit. I also just, anytime we can talk about...
Really graphic.
Anytime we can talk about Kyron Beecham is also really good for me, even though the other Beecham brothers are also really good at basketball. I like Kyron. I'm going to go with just always taking an opportunity to talk about him, but Oside, Pack Ridge.
I'm going to go Oside on this one. Pack Ridge off to a good start. It's funny, they had a little bit of addition by subtraction, lost one of their leading scorers, Grant Mahler, to transfer to Maranatha Christian, but they've rebounded. But I think Oceanside, the reason they're down record-wise is because they played a more competitive schedule. And I think that is going to get them over the hump. And I want to talk a little bit about the younger Beecham, Cameron Beecham, 6'5" sophomore, saw him a lot during the summer with the San Diego Soldiers. He's one of the most improved basketball players in that 2021 class. Has a chance to be pretty special. So I'm going to go with Oside in this one.
I'm going to go with Oceanside as well. You have a little bit of the intimidation factor. Pack Ridge, a small school, doesn't get to play teams like Oceanside that often. Another kid on Oceanside, Clyde Harris, averaging 19.4 points a game and 8.7 rebounds. Again, probably will not end up being their leading scorer at the end of the year, but as of right now, he's doing pretty well.
I love the way that basketball stats break out versus football stats, because football stats, you'll get that one, oh, he had 5 touchdowns that game, but you'll see it pretty quickly fade back. Sometimes basketball stats, you get a guy on a little bit of a heater at the beginning of the season, you're like, wait, we're 10 or 15 games in, and he's still averaging 19 points. And it's really fun that everybody has one or two key stores. Last game is Lincoln versus Sweetwater. Lincoln still minus their football player pieces, so a great opportunity right now for Sweetwater potentially to come up with what might be a signature win early in this season.
I think Sweetwater wins this one pretty big. The interior play of the CJs, as we like to call them, CJ Jackson and CJ McMillan, that's a lot for a fairly undersized Lincoln team that you said sans their football guys right now. Now, Lincoln does obviously have some really good players. Reggie Everett. I'm not sure the status of Dorian Blue, but if Dorian Blue's playing, Dorian Blue's one of the better, more unheralded guards in San Diego. And they've got a couple of other really good, Marvin Washington Jr., a sophomore, Devin McCoy, a junior. They've got great guard play, but that interior, man, that's tough. So I'm going to go with Sweetwater.
I'm going to Sweetwater too. I would say even with the football guys, Sweetwater wins this game. This is going to be a team that we talk about in the playoffs for sure, and for the next couple of years with McMillan over there as a sophomore.
You see Tommy with that hot take? He stuck to that, man. He said, if even with the football players, Sweetwater wins this one. I like that. I can appreciate that. I just like the fact that Sweetwater plays interior and hard nosed.
Wait, time out. We're talking about Sweetwater playing hard nosed interior style offense and defense. When was the last time the Sweetwaters had a player over 5'7"? Other than CJ McMillan.
We'll put that on the poll.
Yeah.
When was it?
Do you think they'll score 60 more points?
I have no idea, man. Let's go. I'll take the over on that. Okay. Folks, look. Here's what we need you to do.
2 people got that joke, I think.
I didn't. I don't get any of your jokes. Oh, we have a football show, and one of the reporters picked Lincoln to lose 61-14, and I didn't get the joke. I'm sorry. I will walk off. I will leave. Tommy, you can close out the show. All right. I'm sorry.
That is it. I'll be Christian for a second.
Hey!
I'm Christian Pedersen. Thanks for watching.
I'm Tommy Morris. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next week.
Tommy with his hand.